Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we have 10 USA-made knives, starting off with the Case MARILLA. The Case MARILLA is about $135. It uses S35 VN blade steel, and it has a beautiful stone wash. Comes in lots of different options, lots of different colors. Now, this is not titanium, though. This is aluminum. It's an aluminum frame lock knife. It does have a steel lock bar insert, just like you would find on a titanium frame lock, and it has an over travel stop so you don't unspring the lock. The detent, very solid detent. It does deploy very fast. It is using bearings. Now, the drop is very smooth, detent very solid, and it does have T8 hardware all the way around. I do really like that. Actually, it might even be bigger than T8 hardware because it's got really large hardware all the way around. I love to see that. Bigger the better, in my opinion. It has a deep carry clip. Not a huge fan of the clip, but it is a deep carry one. And solid knife, very well built. There are a couple things, though, I'd prefer different on it. Like they use steel bearings instead of ceramic. That's one thing. They use a steel detent ball. I'd love to see it be a ceramic. And the detent is a little late when you unlock it. Now you can get past it, but it is pretty late. And then the geometry is just pretty thick. But still a well-built knife. And yeah, like I said, comes in multiple different color options. Let's get to the next one. The next one is the Hogue EX03. Now, this knife has a button lock on it. Now, the button lock is very smooth, but it's not on bearings, so you do have to kind of overcome, like when you deploy it, the detent, it doesn't ride on a regular detent like a frame lock would. So you have to give it, a good push when you deploy it. But it works great, very comfortable in the hand, and when it's locked up, this is very solid. Which, Hogue does, automatics and things like that, so they do button locks pretty well. And they definitely did this one. It's a very solid button lock for sure. We have a deep carry clip that is reversible, or sorry, not reversible, tip up and tip down. The polymer handles are very comfortable, and you can get up nice and close to that blade for, really strong push cuts. Beautiful blade shape, and the blade steel on this is 154 cm. It is very smooth. I really like the slow roll, and I like the way it sounds when it locks in place. Nice, solid lockup. Awesome knife. Next, we'll pull out some more Hogues. We got the Hogue the SIG SAUER K320, which is made by Hogue. S30V blade steel, another polymer handles, and it actually has kind of what you'd see on pistol grips, the type of texture. Now, this one has a 4-way reversible deep carry clip, the same clip as the last knife, and we have a hole deployment. But this time we have an access lock. Well, they call it... I forget what they call it, but either way, it's like an access lock. Very smooth. It is riding on washers, and after I got it, it's only gotten smoother and smoother, and I really like this choke up spot. You can get up nice and tight to the blade, get a lot of leverage. It is a very useful, very tough knife. I think of this, when I think of what this knife is used for, out on the job, out in the field, something you really put to hard work. That's what I think of when I think about this knife. It's something that it is a tool, a great heavy-duty functioning tool. And yeah, great knife. Next, while we're with Hogue, we got the Hogue RSK MK1. This is the large one. This does come in a smaller option as well. Doug Ritter design, 20 CV, G10 scales, deep carry clip that is reversible, and again, we have the access lock. They might call it the Able lock. I forget what they call it, but very smooth, and this is a solid, full-size knife. And again, another knife that I consider just a heavy-duty hitter. Great work knife. Something that's not trying to be beautiful or be anything but just a great, functioning, tough knife. It has a beautiful stone wash on it. The G10 has a really nice grippy pattern on it. T8 hardware all the way around. Super comfortable in the hand. You can get a lot of leverage into your cuts, and just a solid built knife. Now, as an honorable mention, we have the Mini Griptillian, because the Hogue Ritter and the Griptillian are very similar. And the little mini grip I highly recommend for somebody who does not want a large knife but wants a small, tough knife. The BenchMade Mini Griptillian, specifically with the sheep's foot blade, they do have a regular drop point with thumb studs, but I prefer the one with the hole. I've had this for a long time. Rock solid, very smooth. It's just been such a great little work knife. I love it. The geometry is a little bit more on the robust side, but it's such a little tough knife that, you know, it works out great. And there's so many different aftermarket parts for these. You can basically make these your own. Next, another Hogue, the Hogue DEKA. Hogue's killing it in the US. Well, all their knives are USA made, so it makes sense, right? The Hogue DEKA. Now, this is the first version. They do have another version now where they don't have as many screws and they have a deep carry clip. This one originally comes with a non-deep carry clip, but the new one does come with a deep carry clip. This is just like an aftermarket clip, but thumb stud action. And again, we have the able lock or access lock. The thumb stud action is very smooth. It is a extremely lightweight knife. This was definitely a competition for the BenchMade Bug Out, which I also do have, but we're not going to put it on this list. But just know that it could definitely fit right on this list. Just a solid, lightweight knife, and that's kind of the beauty of it. 20 CV blade steel, G10 scales, reversible deep carry clip on the new version. But yeah, super lightweight, super functional, great tool, great knife. Now, they come in two different blade shapes. This is the drop point, but they do have a what they call a Wharncliffe version, which it's a it's a unique Wharncliffe, that's for sure. Next, let's go with some Protecs. We got the Protec Malibu. Protec Malibu with the Wharncliffe blade. They also have one with a sheep's foot blade. Now, this is another button lock. Super well done. The detent on this button lock is amazing. They killed it with the detent. Snaps right out. It is on bearings, so it's stupid smooth. When you press the button, it slaps shut. You can see how smooth it is. Aluminum scales, deep carry clip. The clips on the Protec knives work so good. Inset, flat screws, nothing to get in the way when you're sliding it in and out of the pocket. Beautiful stone wash on this one. And yeah, just a fantastic little knife. Now, the geometry is a little thicker on these two. A lot of the USA made knives, unless if you're going really, I mean, I guess not all of them, but a lot of USA made knives do a little bit thicker geometry. That is one thing I wish would change. But we have 20 CV blade steel, and it is a great functioning knife either way. Even with the thicker geometry, it still works great as an EDC knife. Another Protec, the Protec Mordex. Now, this one is in 20 CV, aluminum scales, another Protec clip, inset, flat screws. Love to see that. And it is another button lock. Very smooth. Again, the detent is nice and well tuned for a button lock. This is more of a tougher use button lock knife. The geometry, it's not crazy thick, but it is a little bit thicker again. But this one is a little bit more acceptable because you have so much leverage into the cuts. It's very comfortable in the hand. What a good looking knife too. Just such a great looking knife. Now, I don't prefer this much belly usually on my drop points, but this one works out great. Solid knife. I love this knife. And I know a lot of people send them in and get hollow grinds put on them, and it looks so good. Beautiful finger choil / sharpening choil. Great stone wash. This did come in a couple different options, but yeah, fantastic knife. Love this one. Next, the Protec SBR. This is a less George design. We have an S35 VN blade with an aluminum scales. Deep carry clip. That again, that is a Protec clip, so it's inset with flat screws, and this is an automatic. So it is a button lock, but this time you push the button and it flies out there, and it has a lot of power. You can really feel that recoil, but even with that really strong spring, I can still overcome it and close it one-handed. Some people might have to do it two-handed, but very, very solid. And when it's deployed, super solid lockup. It is very comfortable in the hand for such a small little compact knife. Now the geometry is a little thicker, but this is supposed to be, a little tough knife, kind of like a little tank. However, I still would love to see them put a hollow grind on this or just thin out the grind a little bit. But regardless, as long as that edge is sharp, it's going to cut just fine. And like I said, nice and comfortable in the hand. Great little knife. Super, super solid. And then I'm just going to finish this off with a couple, well, first, let me just talk about my K390 really quick, because recently I've been kind of messing around with my Spyderco PM2 again. Not that I ever stopped, but I put a beautiful, screaming sharp mirror edge on my K390. Whew, this thing is ridiculously sharp. And just so you guys know, I do run a sharpening service. You can contact me through email or off of Instagram. You can just direct message me. But the Spyderco PM2, fantastic knife, just a great solid work knife again. But we have the compression lock here. I do like the compression lock. It doesn't work the best for lefties, but OCD for EDC has designed the CME, which is a little plastic piece that goes on this, so it basically turns it into a button lock, so it's a lot easier for lefties. But this one, like I said, K390 steel, which is an incredible, incredible steel. And then we have, come on, focus, some brown micarta scales. And it is a beautiful, beautiful satin finish on this K390. K390 is not the most stainless steel, but man, does it hold an edge. It takes a ridiculously sharp edge. It is considered a super steel. So, and this is the PM2, but they do have the Para 3, which is a smaller version of this knife. And I know a lot of people know that knife, so I don't think I need to go into it too much. But I do want to bring up some affordable USA-made knives, which would be the Kershaw Bareknuckle and the Kershaw LEEK. Now, the Kershaw LEEK, sometimes you can find them for like $35-$45, sometimes a little bit more, but they come in 14C 28M blade steel. Love that steel. I absolutely love that steel. Now, it is assisted. That's the only thing. Mine is not assisted no more because the assist broke, but it's still a great functioning knife because I just use the thumb studs, which are also the stop pin. Now, this has aluminum scales, and it is a hollow ground Wharncliffe blade. This is such a great little work knife, such a great little utility blade. Now, the Bareknuckle is also in 14C. They do have some exclusives that are in like 20 CV, but I don't think you need to do that, but it's under $100 even for the 20 CV version, or it's right at $100. These you can get for like $65. It does, they do have a couple other options though. This is the gray aluminum scales. They have green aluminum scales and maybe a couple other ones, but this is my favorite version with the 14C 28M blade steel, beautiful stone wash, such a great workhorse. Now, it is a sub-frame lock, so this is a steel piece right here, and then the rest is aluminum. Great detent, very solid detent. It is on bearings and very smooth. Deep carry clip that is reversible, and mine has been used and abused and is still holding up very strong, surprisingly. And the one problem is that they do have death lock, so when it's closed and you go to deploy it, if you put your fingers on the lock bar, it can lock you out, meaning it's hard to deploy. But after it breaks in, that goes away. Mine, I can put pressure on it all day and it's fine, but mine is well broken in. But solid knife, USA made, and there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.